I'm going to show you how to create the Gutenberg patterns. But before talking about the patterns, I want to show you some things that I'm working on, and it's pretty cool. All right. So before anything else, make sure you have the correct setup. Install the Las Vegas theme. Install the Qt Blocks Pro plugin, and go to the options page and make sure you have the following, at least the following plugins activated: the Editor's Kit, Advanced WordPress Backgrounds, Grids, Block CSS, Block Widget, and GetWid. Um, the plugins that you see in the second tab over here, they're optional. We have the Qt CSS, the Customizer Import Export, the Happy Files, which is one of the latest plugins that I put in there. It's pretty cool. The Theme Switch, if you want to, and the Customizer Check-in, which you can see your website in different sizes from by the customizer, from inside the customizer. But the most important things to run the templates, it's those over here. You can turn on the Simply Gallery as well, or not, or the Display Post type. Now, the blocks for products, it's only good if you have WooCommerce installed. If you don't have WooCommerce installed, you cannot use this. This is for WooCommerce. All right, so once you have that set up, I want to show you. I'm going to start with the Happy Files first of all. So if you go to the media file, media library, you're going to see that now you can create folders. So you create on the all categories, create a folder. The free version, you can have up to 10 folders, which is more than plenty for most. The professional version, it's $10 only, I guess, for unlimited sites, for updates for lifetime, because it doesn't specify. I've got the professional version, the professional version, the difference is that you can have unlimited categories, and also you can have an image in more than one category. I'm using, in this example, the free version, and basically you can put the images in any category that you want. You can categorize them any way you want, so you can find the images pretty easily. And those categories are going to be shown both in Gutenberg and in the TinyMC, the classic editor, every time you are inserting images. All right, let's go. Let me talk about some differences in terms of CSS classes that I added really quickly. So we had the Para1, P-A-R-A-1 class, which basically anywhere you put that, it would make that object, whether it's a box or any shape, 75% transparent. I got rid of that, and I've got a bunch of transparencies. I've got the Trans 50, Trans 60, Trans 75, 80, and 90. And basically, those, if you put those CSS classes on any object, for example, if you put Trans 50, it's going to apply 50% transparency on that object. The Tran top and the Tran bottom, it's pretty much similar to where we have the section top, section bottom, but it's only for transparent pages. Okay, and I've got an example of a transparent page. Basically, those are the main changes that I've done lately in terms of CSSs, CSS classes. If you want to study and everything and ask me any questions, I'll be happy to help or explain better. But in most of those cases, you can see them at work from the custom templates that I sent you last week. So the templates that I send you, basically, it's I've got all the images that you see over here. Got the cars, the gradients, the real estate, and the videos. And I've got an extra image, the city dark, and this is a transparent 1 pixel times 1 pixel, and it's a PNG transparent image, which we can use it at certain circumstances on the cover block when we are using a external image to better control the amount of transparency we can add on the image in terms of color or gradient color. We'll talk about that later on, or some other time actually. All right. So when you're applying those templates, the only thing, and I'm trying to find a solution, and I tried last time 2-3 days on it, and I couldn't find the solution. It works on open templates, but when it comes to block templates, I couldn't make it to work, and I don't know why. The only thing that I require is that before applying those templates on a page, you disable the page title, and you disable the sidebars. Other than that, we're ready to go. Okay, so let me give you an example. All those templates, by the way, they are saved not with the Gutenberg reusable blocks, but also exported with Editor's Kit, and they're different. This, you cannot import them into reusable blocks, but the way you import them back into your website is you simply drop them into the page, right into the editor. And it's much easier than, it's a few steps easier or faster than putting them into the reusable blocks. All right, so let me give you an example. So I'm going to create a new page. Let me call it test. And the only thing that you're required to do, just disable the post title, the meta header, the primary sidebar, and secondary sidebar. Let me save it. All right, so if I'm going to import any of those templates, the JSON files, the CSS files that I have is, it's a fast way of looking what type of CSS I'm applying to those pages. So you don't have to do anything, it's just for you to see what's going on. So for example, for the blend demo page, I'm adding this to the staff, okay? And it's inside the template anyway, so you don't have to apply anything. So if I want to apply the blend demo page import it into my website, all I have to do is drop it into the page. And in 4 or 5 seconds, or maybe a little bit longer, and everything is imported. I'm gonna update the page, and then see on the front end. Okay, so we have the blend demo. Is a blend section block, and everything fits in properly. This is the it's on those blocks that I added those CSS classes. All right, so in order for me to force all the blocks to fit perfectly into the page in this example, I had to tell the blocks, I had to add certain CSS classes. For example, for the bottom block, which is a blend section, which basically it's an image, and I'm blending a blue color, a green color, I believe a purple, and maybe in the end red. We'll see in a second. I'm just notifying Gutenberg or the actually the theme that this is the bottom section. So apply move certain amount of pixels at the bottom of the page to go and unite, hug, whatever you want to call it, with the footer. And it's the same at top, on the top. In this case, in this section, the blend section, I'm notifying that it's the top section. So take it all the way to the navigation bar. Otherwise, if I don't notify them, I'm going to have a certain blank space in between, and I don't want that. So if you click on the top block, which is a section block, and if you go to the advanced, you're going to see that there's a section top class added to it. And if I don't have that, once I remove the page title, we have this space on top. Okay, this is actually 48 pixels. Okay, and there's one way. Initially, the way I was doing was I created a space block, which actually it's a top margin. The CSS setting for it, I'm using top margin, unlike height that Gutenberg uses, or all of the other plugins out there. So I'm using top margin setting, so I can have negative values and move things up. So for example, if I do this, insert before, and say Qt space, and I've got the theme space, I can apply negative value to it, which is minus 48 pixels, and it's going to move that everything up by 48 pixels, and therefore bring it over there. Now the problem with working like that is that every time I change a theme or possibly a style within the theme, it's a very good possibility that it's not going to be 48 pixels, depending how much margins you have between, in this case, the menu and the title of the page, or how big is your title, what type of font you're using. That space could be 60, could be 75, could be 20. So every time that I change a theme or a style, I have to come back here and change the setting to fit that a particular theme or style. And it's the same case at the bottom. Okay, the bottom, the last block, it's got a section bottom CSS class, which basically the theme decides, or the style decides, how many pixels should the block go down and touch the footer. Okay, so all page builders, and this is my biggest issue that I have with page builders, they decide exactly where everything is going to fit. And you might make it to work for a certain theme, but if you work only with page builders, with their margins and paddings and all that, and you have a lot of pages, it's going to be a lot of work later on if you want to change your theme or style. So if you take that responsibility away from the page builder and you give it to the theme with simple CSS classes, then the theme decides where to move. So I'm going to change things up. I'm going to get rid of the remove block. And all the CSS classes that I showed you in the help screen, they're all programmed into the editor's kit. So as long as you have the editor's kit, you are going to be able to very easily add, it's going to autofill all those classes, CSS classes that I have created. So by saying section top, we're notifying in this case that it's the top section, right? Also, when it comes to wide or full width sections or white sections, the theme decides again how much it's going to extend the section. So for an open design like this one, we're saying to extend it by 2000 pixels to the left and 2000 pixels to the right. But when it comes to block, to boxed styles or themes, we're not going to extend it 2000 pixels to the left and right. We're going to extend it, in this case, the Las Vegas theme, only 8 pixels. So once we take that power away from the page builders, we can switch either themes or styles, and I'm going from an open design to a box design, and everything is going to fit just properly. Okay? Doesn't matter if it's box now or open. Basically, everything is going to fit. I don't have to worry about changing themes or styles. The only worry that I have is the colors when it comes to changing, going from dark to light colored backgrounds. For example, this is a dark theme. So if I were going to change the color of this text to, let's say, black or grayish, dark grayish, I was going to have problems right now. Therefore, you're going to be very careful when changing colors of text. You probably always want to leave the theme decide the colors as opposed to you changing those colors, unless you want to do it with a background. So you have a section, it's a black, the section background is black color. So it doesn't matter what color you use, it's always going to be black, no matter what your color of your theme is. Okay, like this one. This is actually a group block, and I've got a background color of blue with white text. So doesn't matter if my theme is white or black, it's always going to be blue background and white text. So it doesn't make a difference. But cases like here, where the text is on the actual page background, you have to be careful with that. So if you do all this, if you let the theme handle the top sections and the bottom sections, and also you let the theme handle the wide sections or the full sections. And the difference between the white section and a full section is this: a white section, the background only is going to extend to the sides, but the full section, the full width section, also the content is going to be spread out to the edges of the screen. And I think somewhere in here, I've got an example of, I need to find it, of full width. This is where, give me a second, let me find it. So all these examples that you're seeing with the background, it's full width, okay? Sorry, white width, and not full width. It's in, I believe I've got a sample here in one of those examples here. No. Did that. Let me try the cover. No. Of course, it's going to be the last one, isn't it? No, this is not going to be either. Maybe I should just go and edit a page. How about in here? This is the transparent page. No, that's not going to be either. It's always going to be the last page and I'm going to look at, isn't it? I like those pages. Nope. Unbelievable. Nope. All right, let me do that. I thought I had a page like that. So yeah. All right. This one. So basically, the feature blocks. Or let's do the cards. So the cards are inside 3 columns. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the columns and I'm gonna group them together. Or without even grouping them together, the alignment, I'm gonna make them full width. There you go, the full width, as opposed to making them white width. So the content is going to stay the same. Click on a block. Once everything loads up, still loading the page. There you go. Click on the columns. Not full width, but white width. So we have, and if I change the background color, let's say blue, let's make it lighter color so we fit. So actually, let's make it that color. So the background is extended and not the contents. All right, so let me go to Elementor. The Elementor, and I have some pages made with it, simply unedited templates coming from the Elementor plugin, except the only change that I made this section for this page full height, and we're going to talk about full height sections probably tomorrow. But I'm going to go to the first page, the first template of the Elementor. I'm going to edit this page really quickly, and you're going to see the difference between the two. You have a better understanding of what I was trying to indicate, taking the power away from the page builder and giving it to the theme, and the theme decides certain things. So the first section over here, I'm letting Elementor stretch the section. The rest of them, like this one, I'm not letting Elementor decide the stretching, but I'm going to the advanced and I'm using my own classes, which again, it's in the, you can find them in the help screens, right? So I'm using Align White. The only thing I added from my own classes in this case is section top. So I'm notifying this, I'm notifying the theme that it's a top section. So, move it up by 48 pixels, this particular theme, in this particular page. So when we look everything in full, in open, with an open design, the default style sheet for this theme, everything looks fine. However, if I change it to a boxed theme, all the sections below are going to fit perfectly, except the top one, because the top one, the page builder decides, Elementor decides the length of the width of the section, and we said, make it align, break all the divs, and stretch it to the extent of the page of the screen. But the rest of them are going to fit perfectly, and similar to other pages. Okay, everything is going to fit all those different sections, and that's not, I can have thousands of themes that I can create, and each theme can have a number of style sheets. Doesn't matter how I change it. If I do it right, I don't have to worry if something is going to fit or not look right. Everything is going to work perfectly. The only thing I have to worry are the colors again. All right, so that's how, even if you're going to use Elementor, if you create your own, if you use my themes, and basically when you create your own Artisteer themes, and you use my techniques, which is not very hard, I'm going to show you when I create the plugin how everything is going to fit in. It's very easy. And you start making your pages the way I'm making or telling you to make it, you're going to be able to change themes, your themes, in the future without having to worry about things fitting things or not. Okay, so that's that. Okay, let's talk about patterns right now, because I've spent enough time on this. So basically, let me go to the test. I'm going to create a pattern, and one of the patterns is this. Okay, let's say this page, this entire page is going to be part of the pattern. So I'm emailing you this text file, and basically it has a few things in there. First of all, I've got a sample of block patterns. So I'm going to start with putting this code, which is very simple to make. Don't be afraid. It's not a big deal, into our function file at the bottom of it. So let's start right now. So once I do that, we're going to be able to see the patterns that I have created into when you edit a page. So we're going to be able to, with one click, insert either a section, a certain block, or an entire page into the editor. So basically, we need to have Gutenberg installed. This is experimental. Things are going to change. What you see when you see this button over here, the block button, which right now acts a little bit crazy because the screen size is exactly at the bottom, comes right to the edge, so it's moving like that. So this the four patterns that you see, Gutenberg puts them. It's by them. But anything that we add, which I'm going to add right now in a second, it's going to be below those four patterns that you see over here. Okay, so let me get rid of that for a second, and I'm going to go into the themes function file, and I'm going to insert all that code into the function file. Let me see until where, all the way to here. Okay, so go at the bottom, and let me put some space so I can find it easily later on. I'm putting that text in the functions file. Once I put in the functions file, let's leave and come back. Let the file get in there. All right. So now if I go to the patterns, that's not the patterns button, this is the one. There you go. You're gonna see that you are going to see that there are some extra patterns in there, and that comes from my block, from my code that I put in there. For example, let me get rid of the everything on the page. Control A, select everything, and then the delete button. And of course, I need to have an error, don't I? Let's see what's happening. All right, let's forget the autosave, update the page. Let's try this again. Select the block, Control A, get rid of everything. There you go. All right, so I've got an empty page. If I click on the patterns button, and I've got a blend section, 3 columns call out, and then I've got a third block, which is basically a blend and call outs. So basically those two blocks put together, and then a whole page. So let me start with this. So am I assuming that it's a top page? Am I mean a top block over here? Yes, I am, section top, okay? I'm gonna say update, and everything is going to fit in properly, all right? Now, obviously, if you want to make changes, and of course you want to make changes to your text, it's automatically ready to be edited. So if I go to edit something, everything is in there, I can go ahead and edit things, okay? And that's it. Now, if you want to create your own patterns, it's very simple, and I'm going to show you right now how to do it. Let me get rid of things. Let me update the page. All right. Move this to the other screen and get rid of all the codes, all the custom patterns, and there are 4 of them. But get rid of it, and we're going to create our own. So before doing that, let me explain how things work. So besides sending you these, 4 patterns that are a sample to use that you can use immediately, I've got some examples, some code, how to create from scratch all your own patterns, which is very easy. So for each pattern, this is how you register your patterns, okay? You use the register pattern, you got the Qt, and basically right now that is not used, but I'm guessing in the future the Qt is going to be a category, So every plugin, every theme, or anyone who's doing patterns, pushing patterns, they can put them in their own category. And I'm not sure if I told you this or not. It's an experiment. The block patterns are in experimental mode, and eventually they're gonna move them in the inserter. So it's gonna be in categories, and they're going to be more efficient in terms of usage. So basically, each pattern, this is the actual code. So you have a unique name. So each pattern has to have a different name. It can't be the same. Okay. And then you put the title here, which is going to be shown in the editor. And then basically the only thing left is the content. And to make the content, it's exceptionally easy. Now, this is the official, basically, API to create your patterns with code. However, I made some additions to it, because if you put the code that we had above, and I delete or deactivate the Gutenberg plugin, your entire website is going to crash. So what I've done over here, I'm checking whether Gutenberg is active, and the patterns code are only going to work only if we have if Gutenberg is installed and activated. If you deactivate Gutenberg or uninstall it, or it's not active basically, then the registered pattern code is not going to work. It's not going to even run. Okay, so basically we have an if statement basically saying that if Gutenberg is active and it's do all this, okay, and then in the end it says else do nothing. So the if statement starts from here, we have the else over there, and it's end over here. What we have over here, however, it's the initial the action to initiate the registration pattern functionality. And for each pattern, this is the code. It's the same as the one over there. And of course, these are the closing codes for the action function over there. Okay, so the only thing left for us to do is create the content. Okay, so let's do that really quickly. So I'm going to create content, any content, in Gutenberg. It's as simple as that. So in order for me to save some time, because I already talked a lot, and I'm sure I bored you to death, I'm gonna go to my demos, and I'm gonna get one of the templates. Let's do the, I don't know, masking. And I'm going to simply, an easier way of doing is get the import block. So you got a bigger area to shoot for, and simply drop the masking. And again, the only thing that I ask when using those templates is to disable everything, the theme display options, disable everything except the disable bullets checkbox. Okay, we're ready to go. Just to make sure that everything is working properly, I'm gonna update the page and then view on the front. All right, everything looks good enough to go. All right, so this is actually too easy. I'm going to go to the options, and I'm going to change from visual editor to the code editor. And I'm going to copy all this code that you see. And this is the code of all the blocks, everything on the page. I'm going to exit the code editor. I'm going to delete everything. Control A and delete, and I'm going to update the page so it's blank. All right. I'm gonna come here, and so I wish I hadn't done that, but it's okay. I don't want to replace all this text over here, so let me temporarily dump this over here. I'm going to get this whole thing and put it in the functions. That's my functions file. All right. So when it says put content over here, and before doing this, we need to have a unique name. So this is the first one. So anything you put, it's going to be there. Let's say, and it has to be lowercase. So masking 1, and we can say anything you want here. Masking page sample. Why not? All right. So the last thing left is to go and get all this code. I didn't get everything. Cut. Perfect. And put it when it says put content here. Okay, I'm gonna dump it in there. I'm gonna say save. All right, so now when we go to the patterns, it should be in there. So let me view the page. Let me get out and get in. So the patterns are gonna get loaded. Should have done a refresh page, same thing. If I go to the patterns now, we should be able to see our pattern that we created. It's called masking page sample. I'm going to click on it with one button. It's there. I'm going to say update, and there it is, the entire page. Okay, so we can push buttons or blocks. Now, there's even an easier way of doing things. And I know what you're thinking. Why didn't you tell me this before? Well, just to make things more interesting. That's why. So eventually, when the block patterns get merged into WordPress, probably summertime, I'm going to start using them, not now, because the code is going to be changed. The warning that what is working, the code that's working right now probably is not going to work. Some things have to be changed. So I'm not going to spend any time knowing that I have to redo everything, which I've done a million times in the last 2 years with Gutenberg. So I'm going to wait until it gets merged into WordPress. Okay, there's a plugin called Block Patterns. You can get it from the WordPress plugin repository. It's called Block Patterns. Somewhere in there, somewhere in here. There you go. Block Pattern Builder by Justin Tadlock. Okay, download this. It only has 20 active installations, which is amazing that it's that low. All right. So once you install it and activate it, you are going to see a menu called Block Patterns. You're going to go in there, and there's a post type. You're going to create a new pattern. And for this pattern, I'm just going to get another page, call it pattern 1. Why not? And I'm going to go to the demos from the second templates. I'm gonna get one of the I'm gonna get the I don't know, content 7 JSON file and put it in there. All right. So basically, this is it. This is the pattern. It's got some text, button, and then an image over there. I'm gonna say publish. Okay. So now, once I've done that, automatically, sometimes you have to. Okay. So you can create as many patterns as you want. Right now it's pat 1. Okay. And if we go into that page, which was called I forgot what it was called. All right, let's do this. Let's go to the front. Oh, test. All right, probably ended up on the second page. That's why it wasn't there. I couldn't find it. All right, so I can just simply add the pattern, which is going to end up at the back of all this content, or to make things easier to see, Control A and then delete button. And I'm guessing I need to update, unless it's going, otherwise you might give me that error again. So I'm going to go to patterns, block patterns, and we're going to see the 4 that comes with Gutenberg, then the one that I created with code, and then the one that were created with the block patterns plugin. Click on it, and it's there. And now you can simply replace the image with anything you want. Let's do this really quickly. Let me go to cars. Let me get that red 911 in there. It's nice. Doesn't even look properly, does it? There you go. Okay, well, right now it doesn't matter. I don't care. And you can change the text and everything else. You can say update. There you go. That's the way it looks now. Pretty lousy. By the way, the second page template, in case you were wondering, if you go to the source file, you're going to see the website, and this is from where I've got the templates from page 2, and I had to modify them to work with the Las Vegas theme. In most cases, I had to do changes and adapt things. Okay, but that's where I've got those samples. On the other templates over here, this is what I created myself. Okay, now in the end, when everything is said and done, I'm going to have a bunch of things that I've created myself, and also I'm going to break them down by blocks, by columns, and individual blocks, as opposed to entire pages. I'll have them both. All right. So basically, I'm leaving a lot of stuff out. I need to, there's a lot of things that we have to discuss. But for the time being, I gave you a good explanation. I hope I gave you a good explanation how to build your websites by using the custom CSS. And if you do things properly, you don't have to worry about changing things. Everything is going to fit properly. And also how to create those patterns that I'm going to start creating lots of them. We can start getting ready those patterns and templates right now, but actually using them into our websites by summertime when everything gets merged. Okay, and again, all the In the meantime, all the templates that I'm going to provide you and others, it's going to be exported by Editor's Kit. So all you have to do, get those files and insert them into the page, drag and drop them into the page. And this is the difference. If, for example, I get this block, the group, and inside the group, of course, it's everything else. If I go and say, add it to reusable blocks, it's completely different by saying export as JSON. The export as JSON, it's a command not by Gutenberg, by the editor's kit, instead by the editor's kit. So when I say export as JSON, all you have to do when you get the JSON file is drop it into the page, the way I was doing all night long over here. If you say add it to reusable blocks, and let me give it a name here, test 563. In order for me to export this and import it into another page, or not another page, another website, I need to go to the tools and export it. And the export is only going to work if I have the Gutenberg templates activated from the customizer. Okay, so first of all, if I go to all blocks, it should be there, should be sitting there. There you go. And also it's telling me how many instances has been used, one instance. And if I click on the one, it should tell me it's on the test. If that particular reusable block or blocks has been used on more than one page, it was going to list me all the pages it's been used. Now, all those reusable blocks, the Gutenberg templates that you saw, you can export them all by once by going to Tools and Export. And you have to say blocks. Okay? The My Templates is things to do with Elementor. The patterns has to do with the block patterns plugin. Okay, and once you get in this case, all the blocks out, it's going to be one file. So you can export, dozens of reusable blocks at once. In this case, we have 6. And then all you have to do to insert them into another website, you need to go to the Gutenberg templates and say import from JSON and do things from there. All right, I'm done. It's almost 1:30 in the morning. I think I hope I didn't confuse you more. And if you have any questions, let me know. This was a bad one.